Hey y'all, it's me again. I'm Kara Bradford, and I am a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed chemical dependency counselor. I am in Texas, and I'm also licensed in New Mexico as a clinical social worker. So, thank you all so much for all of the response that I got from my first Taco-bout It Tuesday segment last week. I got a lot of questions, a lot of responses. Thank you all for interacting with the content. I really appreciate it. And there were a lot of different topics that were brought up as far as what to talk about next. And what I got overwhelmingly in the response was most of you wanted me to go into more of how to combat anxiety, different things that could help, different things that you could practice, things like that. And so I just thought that I would kind of start there today. It comes from emotionally focused therapy, or EFT, which is a very structured, like short term psychotherapy, usually ranging anywhere from like 8 to 10 sessions. And it aims to foster secure emotional attachments, improving relationships, and things like that. It really helps individuals and couples to identify, process, and basically just restructure those maladaptive emotional responses and help in changing the way that you interact with yourself and with others, shifting from more of a conflict to empathy, using empathy as a tool. So, this strategy or this technique referred to as tapping in, but it is emotional freedom technique. It is a technique that combines the mind and the body, and it combines like acupressure and psychology to reduce stress, anxiety. It can even be used to treat pain. So it really taps in and focuses on 9 specific pressure points throughout the body. And what it does is it calms that amygdala, right? What we talked about last time, that center of the brain that is really responsible for fight or flight responses. There's not a lot that you can do to stop the amygdala when it is already active. However, you can help calm and you can reduce the amount of cortisol, which is the stress hormone that, is released during stressful situations, anxiety, things like that. It's going to give you the adrenaline that you would need to fight or flight. And it can just really help to rebalance the nervous system. And so, how you do this is and again, it's that importance of speaking, like actually speaking out loud the belief system that you would like to have instead, or what you would like to believe about a situation or a feeling or whatever instead, right? So, first, what you're going to do is you're going to identify the issue. So, you're going to define that specific anxiety that you may have, that specific fear that you might have. It could even be a physical sensation that you have that lets you know that you are anxious, or that you've been triggered, or that something is coming, right? And so, and that's important too, that physical sensation, because what I find is a lot of people have trouble telling me that they are feeling anxious. However, they can tell me, well, I haven't been sleeping well. I don't feel rested when I wake up. I've been in the bathroom a lot, having digestion issues. I've been having a lot of racing thoughts and worry. They can't exactly tell me that they're anxious, but their body can tell them that they're anxious, and then they can tell me that, right? And then we identify that together. So I just think that that's important. So basically, how to set this technique up is you're going to start by determining what that statement is going to be, that statement of belief that you are actually going to say out loud. So you're going to identify what you're feeling, like what the issue is, and then you're going to come up with that belief system that you would like to have instead. So what that might look like, and we'll just kind of use the example that I used in the last segment, was like, I'm not enough, right? So that statement could look like, even though I feel that I am not enough, I deeply and completely accept my authentic self and know that I am enough. You could even simplify it more than that, right? Even though I feel like I'm not enough, I deeply and completely accept my authentic self and know that I am loved, or whatever that is, right? And so, um, then while you are activating these pressure points, you're going to repeat this phrase, right? So I'm going to now walk through kind of where all those pressure points are and just kind of what you would do. So you're going to start with what is called the karate chop pressure point, and that is right here. It's like in the kind of the fatty like part of the outside of your palm and your pinky. So mine is like right here, and you're gonna know that you have it because like when you press on it, it's ow, right? It's pressure points. Mine is kind of in between my pinky finger, like my bone, like down here, and my ring finger bone, like right in here. So you're going to start at this pressure point. You're going to hold it where it's uncomfortable. Yes, you should be feeling some pain. And you're going to say the phrase, right? So again, I feel like I am not enough. However, I deeply and completely accept my authentic self, and I know that I am enough. And you're going to say that 7 times. You're going to repeat that phrase 7 times while holding still this pressure point. And then if you say started on your right hand, you can do your right hand, or your left hand. Doesn't matter. But whichever one you started with, you're going to go to the opposite eye. So I started with my right hand. I'm going to move to my left eye. I'm going to take my glasses off so that I can show you the pressure points in the eye. So I started with my right hand, and then you're going to move to your eye, and you're going to start at the top. You're going to make a C. So you're going to have 3 different points around your eye. So you're going to start at the top, and mine is like right where like my eyebrow is and like right at the top of my nose. And it's a good one. So on this one, you're going to pulse. So you press, you release, you press, you release, right? You're going to pulse this. And while you're pulsing it, you're going to repeat the phrase again, right? So I'm pulsing and I'm saying, even though I feel like I am not enough, I deeply and completely accept my authentic self, and I know that I am enough. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to repeat that phrase 7 times. Then you're going to move to the outside, and mine is like literally right here. And I always use my thumb because I can put more pressure. But you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pulse and you're going to repeat the phrase 7 times. And then you're going to move right down here. And mine is like right below like the corner of my eye, like on the bridge of my nose right there. And again, we're pulsing and we're saying the phrase, okay? 7 times. And then from there, the next one is right underneath your nose, but right above your top lip. Mine's literally like right in the middle. And you're going to hold this one and you're going to repeat the phrase 7 times again. And then you're going to move from there to the one underneath your chin. And mine is like this, like knuckle size. It's like that much in. It's like right in the middle. And you're going to hold this one as well. And you're going to say the phrase again 7 times. And so the next one, if you started with your right hand, you're going to go back to the right and you're going to go to the collarbone. Now this one, like here's like where like my trap area is. And like here's my collarbone here. And then like here's this part where it's like, I call it the necklace because like there's these 2 like knots right here. And then you could have like a pendant right there or whatever. So that one is right there. And mine's like right here. And you're going to hold this one as well. And you're going to repeat the phrase 7 times. From there, you're going to go back opposite of wherever you started. So if you were on the right and you did your right collarbone, you're then going to go to the left side of your body. And this one is the one I affectionately refer to as the side boob, but you can call it whatever you want. It's in the armpit. It's right here. Mine is like right here. And you're going to pulse this one because this one's a tender one too. This one hurts. You're going to pulse that one and you're going to repeat the phrase. And then from there, the very last pressure point that you're going to go to is right on the top of your head. And you're going to hold this one down and you're going to repeat the phrase 7 times. And that completes the circuit. And so what that is doing is it is rewiring your brain. It is using the pressure point, the pain that you are feeling, to kind of override the thought that may be associated with whatever trigger you just felt, right? And it's going to rewire that in a way that will reduce your emotional stress to it every time. And so that's just one technique to use. And I understand, like, you're not going to be able to just like do this real quick in the grocery store or whatever. But what you can do is you can set an intention with yourself. You can tell yourself, I am going to do this as soon as I get in the car or as soon as I have a next minute alone. We're going to do this and go from there, right? And why do we trust people, right? because they do what they say they're going to do. That's how you build trust, right? So, in the same way, you have to build that trusting relationship with yourself. You have to set an intention and you have to do what you said you would do. So, I encourage you to do that. That's another reason, as believers, right, that we believe in Christ and that we want to have a relationship with Him because He always fulfills His promises and He always does what He says He's going to do. That is literally what makes the Bible believable to a believer, right? So show it for yourself authentically. One more thing that I just kind of wanted to bring up as far as anxiety and like being in the moment, right? When you become anxious, when you are triggered by something, sometimes what can happen, like we talked about before, was you can start to experience physiological symptoms. And one of those sometimes is that elevated heart rate, right? Like it feels like you're like boom, 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 right? It goes really fast. Your heart rate shoots up. You might get sweaty palms. You might feel dizzy. You might get, your vision might start to kind of narrow. And that is just a response, again, from that amygdala, right? And so though you can't like necessarily stop it, you can be aware of it cognitively and you can do something that will calm you in the moment and get you through it. So it is a breathing technique that basically it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, or the PNS. It's a basically the counteract to the central nervous system, right? So this system is responsible for calming the body, for conserving energy, and maintaining that like daily like rest and digest type of functions. Like I said, it opposes the fight or flight system and it reduces the heart rate. It can reduce blood pressure. It also promotes relaxation and it can really help in a lot of different ways. And so that technique, how you activate that system, is what I call hot cocoa breaths. And so I wish they would teach this to us as kids or to our kids in schools, because it's like the best thing ever. I think it would really help a lot of people, but I digress. Anyway, it's what I call a hot cocoa breath. So if you could imagine, actually, I have the cup right here. If you could imagine holding a cup of hot cocoa and you would want to smell your hot cocoa. So you're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And then with the exhale, you're going to exhale through pursed lips, which is like this. So you're going to, if you could just imagine like blowing into your hot cocoa to cool it off, right? But you don't want to blow too hard, right? Because you don't want to knock out like, your marshmallows and all the things, right? So the goal and why it's hot cocoa breaths is by trying not to splash the marshmallows out, you're going to make sure that you have a longer exhale through the pursed lips than your inhale through your nose, right? So you just and if you just did that with me, you might be noticing how calm you feel. Amazing, right? Yeah, so what you did is you activated the paracentral nervous system and you just regulated yourself. You brought your heart rate down. Notice how calm you feel, right? Yeah. So that is another way to combat anxiety in the moment. I know that that doesn't take anything away. I know that that doesn't address the root issue, right? But it is a way to cope in the moment. And even if you can't do the whole rotation of all of those different pressure points, if you're feeling that in some way, you can just in public, you can just hold that karate chop and you can say that to yourself in your mind. And I know that I've been harping on like actually saying it out loud, which you should at some point. But in public, I mean, you can just nonchalant, just like hold that and think that to yourself. And you can try to reduce that way, right? Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be so religiously done, right? It doesn't have to be done just this way all the time and, this many amount of times or whatever, right? You can make it applicable to you in your life and whatever works for you. And so those are just a couple of strategies that I wanted to talk about since I did get quite a few responses from this past video about anxiety on but like, what does that actually look like? Like, what's another way that I can actually do that in the moment? And so I just wanted to kind of share this with you all. And yeah, so let me know what you think about these. Try them, see if they work for you. And you can regulate at the same time as you are hurting emotionally, physically, mentally. That is a thing. That is a dual reality that can happen. And you're not alone. And so, anyway, again, I hope that this helps somebody. Let me know in the comments how this felt, if this was helpful, if it wasn't helpful. Again, what you want to see next, what questions you have as it relates to Bible teaching, as it doesn't, in general or whatever. This is a safe place for you to ask these questions either in the comments or feel free to drop me a message. Yeah. So God bless you guys. And thank you again for watching another really long Taco About It Tuesday. And I hope y'all have a blessed week. Bye.